This is an EMP video on how to protect your electronic devices and backup power supplies from EMP. There's two types of EMP, one that would come from a nuclear weapon and one that would come from the sun. Now, the one that would come from a nuclear weapon would probably be detonated on high orbit above our country, pretty much wiping out everything electronic. Now, there are ways to protect your electronics from this threat, which would be this. Basically a Faraday cage. Imagine a bowl inside of another bowl, and they're both filled with water. A nuclear weapon would be detonated above high orbit. Imagine dropping a marble inside the big bowl, and the wave would be the EMP hitting the smaller bowl inside the bigger bowl. The wave would go around the Faraday cage, protecting whatever you had inside the bowl. Now, there are plenty of different types of Faraday cages. This one's used to protect my meter. I currently can't find it, so I'm using my calculator as a stand-in. But basically, this is your Faraday cage. It's aluminum surrounding a box. A conductive path runs to complete the connection between the lid, so the EMP would surround the entire box, protecting whatever was inside. One of the things you have to make sure of is that the inside of the box is shielded from the aluminum, because you don't want, like, let's say you had my meter in here and I had the wires still connected to it, or the jumpers, and they were touching the aluminum. It'd completely defeat the entire purpose of protecting the meter, because it would basically act as an antenna feeding the EMP from the box into the electrodes, or the jumpers, into the meter, frying it. So make sure you shield it. So basically, as you can see, I got several layers of aluminum. You could use steel or aluminum. I prefer to use both because aluminum has a very good property of blocking magnetism, or at least I think it blocks magnetism. I'm not sure how. Either it slows magnetism or something like that, but they use it on roller coasters when they basically have two magnets on either side of an aluminum disc, which slows the roller coaster down after its ride. So basically you would have a sheet of steel on the outside with aluminum on the inside, and that would help protect, let's say, a computer hard drive. That's what I do to protect one of my drives, because if you were needing to bug out or something like that, you'd want to be able to take all your information with you, like your survival books and information, maybe even your movies or something. It'd be all on a hard drive and you could just grab it. So there's also grounded boxes. Those work well too, but this is just a portable box. I figured if an EMP would strike, I'd at least would like to have 1 meter I could use, so in that way I could repair any electronics that might be damaged. Let's see if I got a circuit board somewhere around here. And let's see here. This is one of the circuit boards I've been building. It's not perfect, so don't judge. But basically, a chip would go here, and what would happen is if an EMP hit, all these wires on the back would act as antennas, and it would have a large current going into the chip and frying it. Same with the transistors. The resistors could probably handle it, and the diodes probably won't, but the transistors and chips and stuff like that would be fried. Unless if you have a bag of these, odds are you're going to have quite a few of the transistors in here survive, because they'll all be shorted. But it's not a good idea to bet on. I'd put this inside a Faraday cage or something, because that might be useful to help repair something later. But there are ways to protect your electronics. Like, this is a charge controller I've been building. Your solar panels, you can protect your solar panels and your system from EMP. The way you do that is you'd have your roof. Let's say this was my roof. I would cut into the roof, take the shingles out, put in a steel and aluminum box inside the cutout. I'd put the solar panels inside the box, and I'd put a sheet of conductive glass over the box, so that way, and I would also put steel grating, but that's iffy. But that would protect your solar panels, and naturally they'd be protected anyways, especially if you took out the blocking diode, because it's still basically a regenerative, or a generator basically. So it's everything down the line, like your charge controller, that would be affected. So if you protect your panels and protect the wires coming from your panels, basically aluminum or something wrapped around this all the way down, basically maybe even conduit might even work. Basically have your wires, you'd basically want this all shielded. So basically it'd be a shield around all your electronics, and it would protect it, especially with solar. Wind I'm not so sure about because of the stator, but there is another way you could also do this. You know those thermal, there's another way you could do this. You can use a solar hot water heater, and you'd stick that up on your roof, and basically you'd have two lines. One would be your in and your out, so you'd have hot water coming out and cold water going in, and basically you could use tacks to generate your electricity, because water is non-conductive. So you could have two fluid lines going into your Faraday cage, and there would be like a wire grate inside the tube at the Faraday cage, preventing any EMP from penetrating from that small of a hole. But basically you could generate electricity inside the cage via the tacks, just by simple hot and cold, because there's a potential built up between a degree difference. And you can also build a magnet motor. I know they may seem a bit iffy, but if you actually look at the couple of them that I've been looking at, look like they'll actually work, and I'm actually planning on building one. I already got the stator made for it. I haven't gotten around to getting neodymium magnets, but because they're hell expensive. But once you get your system protected, I've seen some systems out there. Some of the guys I've seen who've built these really incredible systems, but they wouldn't survive if an EMP hit. They would be gone. I've seen this one guy. He's really good at. He has backups and stuff. He keeps all of his spares inside a Faraday cage, which is good. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to be able to cook and freeze your food. Because if you could save food, then you could survive. Because after an EMP strikes, everybody who didn't prepare is going to be hunting around and stuff, and you want to try to stay inside as much as possible, and you want to be able. It's going to be really hard to find food. So if you can hunt and find food or save food, a freezer is going to be your best bet, especially with a vacuum sealer. I'll probably be making another video to answer any questions or anything I might have missed. So have a nice day.